Earlier this month, we talked about the very first Academy Award nomination for an openly transgender actor named Karla Sofia Gascon. And Karla starred in Netflix's Emilia Perez. It's described here as a film centered on Emilia, a fearsome cartel leader who enlists Rita, a lawyer, to help fake her death so that Emilia can live authentically as her true self. This is a huge Oscar bait movie because it's mainly centered around trans representation. And I think that it was more of an insult that they nominated this person for lead actress rather than something gender neutral. But I digress. That Oscar campaign is now in jeopardy because Karla Sofia Gascon's past problematic tweets have mysteriously resurfaced online. There was a thread posted by journalist Sarah Hagee showing a lot of posts from between 2020 and 2022 regarding controversial views on Muslims, George Floyd, and, ironically, diversity at the Oscars.
It's so weird. It's actually, if you tried to create a parody of everything they don't like, it somehow fit that parody to a T.
So I'm just going to go through the examples that they listed here. And by the way, they might be poorly translated because they were originally posted in Spanish. But here's one from 2020. I'm sorry, is it just my impression, or are there more Muslims in Spain? Every time I go to pick up my daughter from school, there are more women with their hair covered and their skirts down to their heels. Next year, instead of English, we'll have to teach Arabic. And in another post from 2020, attached a photo of a Muslim family in a restaurant, including a woman in a burqa that also covers the woman's face. Islam is marvelous without any machismo. Women are respected, and when they're so respected, they are left with a little squared hole on their faces for their eyes to be visible and their mouths. But only if she behaves, although they dress this way for their own enjoyment. How deeply disgusting of humanity. This is obviously a sarcastic post referring to the mistreatment of women in Muslim countries.
It really does feel like if you asked Hollywood to give you a parody of what they think every Trump supporter is like, it would be tweets like this.
Yes.
And it's just, it was like when I was
cartoonish.
It's cartoonish, but also what was, and I don't mean to say that it was funny, but it was kind of funny. It's like every tweet over like the last day or so, they were like, this tweet has been uncovered. And then there would be another one and then another one. And they just got comically all the way up until they got to like Hitler.
I'm not even close.
We're not even close to that.
In another post from 2021, Gascon posted, Islam fails to comply with international rights. And also it claims that religions must be banned as long as it does not comply with the DDHH, using an abbreviation for human rights in Spanish law.
I'm literally picturing like the judges at the Oscars having a panic attack. As
They probably are.
Like they're thinking right now of all the video packages they have to edit to change.
In another post from 2021, Gascon writes, I am so sick of so much of this shit, of Islam, of Christianity, of Catholicism, and all the effing beliefs of morons that violate human rights.
I mean, to be fair, Hollywood only really cares that they're insulting Islam there. They wouldn't care if she was insulting Christianity.
Right, exactly. If it were just a post about hating on Catholicism, no one would care.
That would have been great for them.
Yeah, they would have celebrated that. Yeah. But aside from posts about Islam, Gascon posted a long thread about George Floyd. It's just days after he was killed by a police officer.
And to be like, this actor doesn't live in America.
No.
So it is always weird how, you know,
we are like U.S. politics are center stage.
I know it's always funny when people like dunk on America. It's like, you don't even care about your own politics. That doesn't prove this country's superiority. I don't know what does.
So here was this post. I really think that very few people ever cared about George Floyd, a drug addict swindler, but his death has served to once again demonstrate that there are people who still consider black people to be monkeys without rights and consider policemen to be assassins. They are all wrong. And in a follow-up, Gascon added, too many things to reflect on regarding the behavior of our species every time an event occurs. Perhaps it is no longer a question of racism, but of social classes that feel threatened by each other. Maybe that's the only real difference. So this was attempting to inspire some nuance in the debate about police brutality and racism in the U.S. I see that, of course, this tweet isn't saying that Gascon considers black people to be monkeys without rights. That's a commentary on, I guess, the racists in the U.S. Yeah. So people are kind of taking this tweet and running with it to misinterpret. But regardless, you're not allowed to have a nuanced opinion about George Floyd in Hollywood. You're not allowed to say that.
What this proves is the absolutely addictive nature of having opinions on these types of things, because anybody with half a brain and hope for a career knows to stay away from this stuff. Like, not that you can't have the opinions, but the fact of the matter is, much like with what Anthony Mackie is going through, when you say the wrong thing, it backfires on you. Like, would you feel any different now? Think about like a year, 4 years have gone by. Did you really benefit? Was there some type of a major catharsis from posting these opinions publicly? It's not to say that you can't share these opinions with your friends and family, but if you're desirous of being a professional with a front-facing image, camera ready, there's just some things you're going to have to give up. And one of those things that you might have to give up is that you're going to have to learn to not take the risk. That, or every time you do have a strong opinion on something very, very spicy, you better hope that you can walk the line perfectly every single time. And very, very few people can do that. Almost nobody can do that. Better to just not have an opinion at all if you're going to work in a field where it risks being punished.
Well, I think that most of these tweets were posted before Gascon was even relatively popular or well-known in the industry.
And people are wondering, they're saying, look,
it's just crazy to me. It's crazy that entertainers and public figures in the year 2025 don't know that their old tweets are searchable. Yeah. Like, this is just online literacy 101. If you're a public figure, you should keep really good watch of your social media presence, and it's fine if you have those opinions and you intend to share them with people, but if you don't want that to be dug up from your past, take stock. Hire a social media manager that is meant to erase your digital footprint. Take care of these things before it ends up being this huge controversy. The most ironic one, I mean, it's the most ironic and the most justified of all, that this trans actor is posting tweets about how there's so much forced diversity at the Oscars. Meanwhile, you are literally the prime beneficiary of that forced diversity by being the first trans actor nominated for an Academy Award. Yeah. You're happy to be the beneficiary, but before you benefit from it, you're going to trash talk it? That's what I don't understand. So this tweet from 2021 about the Oscars ceremony says, more and more, the Oscars are looking like a ceremony for independent and protest films. I didn't know if I was watching an Afro-Korean festival, a Black Lives Matter demonstration, or the 8M. Apart from that, an ugly, ugly gala. They're referring to the 8M protest day dedicated to feminist struggle on social media. It's the 8th of March. I wasn't aware of that before. And then in another tweet about the COVID-19 pandemic, Karla Gascon tweeted, the Chinese vaccine, apart from the mandatory chip, comes with 2 spring rolls, a cat that moves its hand, 2 plastic flowers, a pop-up lantern, 3 telephone lines, and €1 for your first controlled purchase.
Just so you understand that, like, most people still skip around the whole vaccine debate because it can get you in trouble on social media. So it's kind of crazy. They should I mean, I don't know if this person is rich, but rich people should just hire somebody that they can just spew this stuff to so that they don't have to post it on social media.
This is a tweet from 2019 in which Gascon wrote, "This is the same old story. Black slaves and women in the kitchen. But it's my opinion and it must be respected. I do not understand so much world war against Hitler. He simply had his opinion of the Jews. Well, that's how the world goes."
And this is where we are. This is where we are now. Karla.
Well, I wanted to read one more. There's another tweet about Gascon's co-star in Emilia Perez, Selena Gomez. Karla wrote about Selena Gomez, "She's a rich rat who plays the poor bastard whenever she can and will never stop bothering her ex-boyfriend and his wife," referring to Justin and Hailey Bieber.
You think she would have at least deleted that after she met her?
I know, but it's like, if you want to work with these people, you can't really say shit like that.
Yeah, and
it's just common sense. And now it's gotten to the point, the backlash reached such a breaking point that Karla Gascon issued an apology on X prior to deactivating his account, saying, "I want to acknowledge the conversation around my past social media posts that have caused hurt. As someone in a marginalized community, I know this suffering all too well, and I am deeply sorry to those I have caused pain. All my life, I have fought for a better world. I believe light will always triumph over darkness."
Then I saw a tweet that says, "You are literally the darkness."
And then, promptly after apologizing, Gascon instead decides to deactivate his account, saying, "I'm sorry, but I can no longer allow this campaign of hate and misinformation to affect me and my family, so at their request, I am closing my X account."
Is it really misinformation if all they're doing is reposting stuff you said?
I guess the misinformation part comes from people intentionally misinterpreting the meaning of those opinions.
Yeah.
But aside from that, you're literally just... It's like... It would have taken anyone 5 seconds to find any of these posts. Like, it was only a matter of time before this happened.
It's crazy because a lot of people, it would call into question the Hollywood oppression hierarchy, where usually trans sits higher up on the list than any of these things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, how the times have changed.
Trans would sit higher on the oppression totem pole than race, you mean?
Yeah, I think so. I do.
So you think maybe these tweets aren't going to be the final word on...
No, I think I mean, that's why it's weird, because it does seem to be the final word on it.
We'll have to see.
Honestly, I think it was the Hitler tweet that broke the camel's back.
It's not just winning an Oscar that can really be a boon for your career. An Oscar nomination in and of itself is a huge deal. To have someone refer to you as an Oscar-nominated actor or actress is a huge deal. And that's why I think possibly in response to this controversy, the Academy might rescind the nomination.
Think so?
That's a huge possibility. But now they're kind of turning the blame on studios for not vetting social media posts from their talent.
Strictly speaking, the studios, and I'm not even saying, this isn't me saying that they that I agree with the practice, because I would rather they just like go, yeah, whatever, and just let people say what they want. But I'm a little bit of a masochist that way. From a purely business perspective, there should be somebody there. You know, if you're pushing like, hey, we're Netflix, we're progressive, we've got these progressive ideas. Maybe, especially when you're going to make movies like this, would be good to go through that person's tweets more even than like a normal movie. Like, I don't know if you need to go through Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz's tweets before their movie comes out, but maybe before the hyper progressive movie about a trans drug lord, you should go through and make sure that the person is incorruptible.
It's just, if you're this trans actor, how can you be hating on protest movies? How can you really be hating on activist movies and Oscar bait movies?
Yeah.
When the movie that launched your career is one of those movies.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knew who this person was before Emilia Perez. And all of Karla Gascon's co-stars in this movie, Zoe Saldana, Selena Gomez, are way more famous. Clearly, this person only got the role because they fit into that category of a marginalized community.
And
so
it wasn't a matter of
it
it being done
be such a
for
blatant hypocrite.
And it wasn't something that was done later for clout. It was transition was in 2015, so it's not like this
isn't a new thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, they pointed out that this is really Netflix's fault. In an unexpected turn of events, Netflix did not vet Gascon's social media history in advance to casting her in Emilia Perez, nor, it seems, had anyone else associated with the film or the actor, a decision that represents a critical lapse for a major Oscar campaign.
So is there like somebody that's hired these companies whose job it is to just go into their page, hit the little circle button and like search their name and then just search like Hitler?
Yeah, is this a full-time job now?
Yeah.
Like I'll sign up. I'll happily do that. I will be the janitor for anyone's social media presence. One anonymous campaign guru said, "We all make mistakes, omissions, but when you know you have a loose cannon like her, you don't take your eye off the ball, especially since anyone in that position can take an entire campaign down with it." That could ruin Oscar nominations not only for the actor, but for the movie as a whole. They've gotten 13 nominations.
A record.
And as a result of this social media blow up, that could totally get tanked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
there's no going back on it now.
There's people re-editing video packages right now, kind of like WWE after so in WWE after Chris Benoit's death, they did a tribute show to him before it was discovered that he murdered his wife and child. So then they had to furiously go back through and start editing him out of all the material because you can't celebrate that. There's somebody right now whose job it is to re-edit a bunch of video packages to put as little focus on Emilia Perez as possible. Kind of like when they did the trailers for Death on the Nile, and even though the spoiler alert, the bad guy in the movie was literally played by Armie Hammer, he was in like one scene in the trailer, and his name was moved to like last person in the credits because at that time everybody thought Armie Hammer was a cannibal.
Right. Well, I mean, he did kind of admit to it, but
he admitted to weird sex stuff. Yeah. That's what he admitted to. If again, admitting to weird sex stuff in Hollywood is a prerequisite. I don't understand, but that's just me.
They say the price of vetting a nominee's social media history and scrubbing offensive posts is minuscule compared to the cost of courting Oscar voters through tastemaker screenings, for your consideration ads, and lavish parties, which can cost upwards of $30 million, say sources familiar with campaign spending. The cost of vetting, by contrast, runs anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000, depending on how prolific a contender is on social media.
Yeah.
Pay me $5,000 to $20,000. I will happily take control of this person's Twitter account. Like, that's free money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's all pay to play anyway, which is basically what they admitted. You can spend millions of dollars for Oscar wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
People say that these award shows are irrelevant, but clearly people in the industry
Look
really
at Anthony
care
Mackie.
about it.
It still bothers Anthony Mackie that he hasn't won an Oscar yet.
Yeah, they kind of stew on that for years. So huge misstep, a huge oversight on everyone's part.
I agree.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.